everybody, and welcome to Talking Cars with Consumer Reports. I'm Tom Muchler.
I'm Jake Fisher.
Gabe Shenhar.
GM's been on a roll recently. The Chevy Impala, it's our top-rated sedan. The Chevy Silverado, our top-rated truck. And now we've got the chance to drive two of GM's latest products, the Chevy Corvette and the Cadillac CTS. The Corvette, what do you think?
Slow, boring. It was freaking amazing, I gotta say. The Corvette's always kind of been, how do we say it? It's kind of been an old person's car. I mean, the last couple of generations, the car has always had great performance, but it always kind of felt kind of big. It wasn't really tight, agile. This new one, it just feels agile. It is so much fun, and the sound this thing makes. You look at the back of it. It's got these 4 exhaust pipes. It's like this
beautiful looking.
It looks great, but it's like this tuned sound that comes out of this thing. It's just unbelievable.
Hey, what'd you think? You're in the Office 911 Corvette wars. You
admittedly,
go towards the German side.
I've never been a Corvette kind of guy, but this generation really closes the gap. It doesn't have any of that nose heaviness, and doesn't feel so broad-shouldered that it's not really agile anymore. This one is kind of like tight and light and agile. It's light on its feet. It's responsive. Everything is pretty immediate. And the performance is just amazing. It's supercar level performance at accessible
$50,000
price.
An accessible price, but also accessible to use that performance. It's not something that's kind of big and scary, and it makes anyone an expert driver. When the Corvette first kind of came out with that competition mode, we were big fans of this because it kind of made everyone into
you look like a rock star even if you weren't.
Exactly. Well, this car just makes it's so accessible to drive it at its performance.
Also, the repertoire of this car has gotten so broad now. With the modes that you can select. The car can be a boulevard cruiser.
I think eco mode in a Corvette makes me sad.
A little bit boxy on there, right?
Wrong.
The eco mode is just
it's a sop.
It's just a
giving
throwaway mode. Yeah, but in touring mode, it's pretty refined. It's pretty relaxing to drive.
It's a docile car to drive. You don't need to use the Nautilus machine to work the clutch. The 7-speed. It has 7 speeds. You don't need 7 speeds. Corvettes need like 1, maybe 4.
Yeah, I found myself
there's
shifting.
So much torque in that thing.
Ascending to highway speed, 4th to 7th, and then you're just cruising. So, and the 4th to 4th gear thing that forces you from 1st to 4th, that's still annoying. So
you had that?
I didn't just start it in 2nd, and you're good.
Or just floor it everywhere.
Exactly. That gets you around.
Actually, another car. We both recently drove the Viper. I don't know if you got a chance to drive that.
Yeah, you went to a press event and drove a Viper.
Right, and the Viper. It costs roughly twice as much, and the Viper still is like.
Is that twice as much car?
It's almost like a kit car.
It is.
Still.
The car is great looking. The car's got a lot of power. But it's not, talking about the accessible
it sounds
of performance.
Obnoxious.
Not the good kind of obnoxious.
No,
it's kind of
the
like
Corvette sounds great.
The Corvette sounds great. You look at the Viper, it's kind of got this this drone of noise coming at you
in your face. It's just for no reason at all.
There's trouble seeing out of the car, and things aren't quite exactly where they need to go. All the action, the clutch pedal on the Viper, it's like 3 feet long.
Yeah. And it's a point and shoot kind of car. There's just no finesse to it at all.
The Corvette's all over finesse. The car it's a sports car with tons of performance.
Right.
And I think that's the amazing thing about this Corvette is, there just came out, the Stingray, the base version. What the hell do they do for a Z06? What do they do?
More
for
power,
the Zero?
more power, more better.
Power.
More power, more better.
It's going to make time go
More
backwards.
handling.
We're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, exactly. But as impressed as we were with the Corvette, the Cadillac CTS, I may have been a bit understated in my video. I might not have communicated exactly how I felt about
I think
the
I've
CTS.
communicated it in the words, though.
Yeah, well, I'm going to show you the beginning of that video, and you'll get a feeling of what I think of that car. I'm going to cut right to the chase. This redesigned Cadillac CTS, it is a fantastic car to drive. It is a joy. Forget any of the preconceived notions you have about Cadillac. They're gone, done, over. If you think you need to buy an Audi, a BMW, or a Mercedes-Benz to have a good driving sports sedan, you're wrong. This car drives better. So yeah, I might have liked the CTS just a bit.
A little bit.
It's a lovely car. I mean, it's such a sweetheart of a car. I mean, that V-Sport version.
Well, you know, they stacked the deck.
Yes.
You know, I mean, by sending out the V-Sport, which is the highest performance version now, all the media cars have been V-Sports. We went to a press event last week, the same with the Viper was at. And again, it's a V-Sport. They have not put out normal versions of the car
But here's
yet.
the thing. I mean, forget about the V-Sport, forget about the power. What's happened here with the CTS is they've leapfrogged the competition in a couple of key areas. What it used to be is when you drove like a 5 Series BMW or an E-Class Mercedes, there was always this kind of like great steering feel and ride and handling that they had that just no one else could touch. Now, Cadillac, they've leapfrogged them. They've got the steering right. They've
Remind you of that
the ride
E39,
right.
the mythical E39 5
10 years
Series.
ago, 5
Yeah.
Series.
Right.
It's back to that. Plus, the other place where they really fell down is they never had that interior that made you feel like you were driving a $50,000 vehicle, right? It was a little bit, hard plastic and
Yeah.
such. Now they've leapfrogged again. I mean, the interior of this car is absolutely gorgeous.
No,
Interior is gorgeous, that's true.
They are setting
but,
new benchmarks for
I mean,
interiors.
the irony here is that once stodgy Cadillac that appealed to the senior citizens is now the sportier, younger choice
Well, that's
over
the
a
thing.
5 Series and an E-Class.
Like I said in that video clip, this car, we talked about this in a couple shows of what is the sportiest mid-size luxury sedan you can buy. And I think we had said before it was maybe a Jaguar XF.
Right.
This
That's
is
it.
above that. This is
above
this is a
that, yeah.
fantastic
At least in
car.
V-Sport. I mean, let's wait until we buy our own, which is
know,
not going to be a V-Sport.
No, but I'm pretty confident because the ATS, we bought a fairly basic Cadillac ATS, and I'm wearing an ass groove in that car. I will drive that car as it's not vulgar. It's not.
Okay.
I mean,
Go with it.
The seat fits me very well.
Remind me to stay out of the ATS.
Yeah, I mean it's a fabulous car to drive. The CTS feels
it's a nice
feels
driving
just
car.
like that.
Yeah, and it should. As we know, I mean, the platform is basically an extension of that ETS platform, which is just awesome. I mean, they've really got that ride and handling right down on
Right.
the car.
I mean,
it's
it's
lightweight
taut,
too.
it's lightweight.
Again,
It's
this
light,
big
yeah.
shift. I mean, there's this shift with the pre-bankruptcy General Motors and the after-bankruptcy
Because the
General
previous
Motors.
generation CTS drove pretty well, but the body control wasn't that good, and it was a heavy car.
But if you look at the ATS, look at GM in general. I mean, you got vehicles like the Cruise,
That's
which is an
yeah.
older. It's a porky vehicle. It's around 3,300 pounds. I mean, you look at the ATS. It's right around there in terms of weight. You got
Yep.
more vehicle at lighter weight, and that means performance, and that means
That's a really good point because, I mean, GM now is a transformed kind of company. And you see it in the products. You see it when you feel it when you talk to the right people there. I mean, it's an engineering-focused company that puts people that know cars, that understand cars, in decision-making positions.
We
I
were-
mean, that whole layer of bean counters
Yeah.
is
Yep, that's it.
now
That's it.
removed.
And we were told-
And those people have come to the surface.
And we were told that point blank, that GM, they would not spend money to make money. And now it's obvious that they are investing in the cars. They are executing at a very high level, very well thought out vehicles. Again, the Impala, the Silverado,
Yes.
these two cars.
These cars
this
are invested
generation
in.
of GM products is amazing. It's all well done. It's all well thought out.
Yeah, the days, what it used to be was, we might be able to save a quarter here and a half a dollar here and a dollar there. And then all of a sudden they're selling the cars for a $3,000 cash rebate.
Yeah.
Right.
So those days are gone. And what they're selling these cars are, that's going up higher, but they're putting the content in. They are, and it shows.
It shows.
Content and the intent and the substance.
So, I mean, we'll buy a Corvette, we'll buy a CTS, we'll see how they do. Get into some reader questions. Our last episode was on trucks. And someone pointed out, surprised you didn't make any mention of the F-150 or Tundra, which is the best-selling and newly redesigned, respectively. First off, calling the Tundra
A redesign?
that's crazy talk.
Well, they got the grills a
that's,
little different or
There's
something.
more chrome on the grill.
Well, that's a redesigned grill.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice spin by
yeah.
Toyota to make it a redesign. I mean, they changed some of the grill,
got
they
a
changed
new
some of the
interior.
controls, so it's a mild, really mild freshening here.
Yeah, they're just marking time with that because I don't think they know what to do with it because it just doesn't sell.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually not a bad truck. I mean, the powertrain is to die
Powertrain's
for.
fantastic. It is.
That's right.
I mean,
I would actually rather have that powertrain over a Hemi. I mean,
the
it is a
damped
very
rear gate is very convenient. I mean, there are some nice details about that truck, but
But it
somehow,
just,
I don't know.
The thing is, that's funny about it is, it's an old school Detroit truck. It is big. It is ponderous. It's not particularly refined. You know, where you compare it to these Cadillac
It
trucks.
doesn't
you know,
ride
the
very
Ram,
well.
the
It
Silverado.
doesn't have full-time four-wheel drive.
Yeah, I mean,
There's been a swap because actually the previous generation Tundra was very much.
it was a Lexus.
Yeah, we call it. It was the Camry
We
of
call
pickup
it a
trucks.
girly truck.
It was a girly truck, right?
Yet it was
But
all the truck people needed.
But it was really easy to drive. It was nice. It was refined and all that. And then they were like, well, that's not selling, so we're gonna make it a big truck, burly truck. And all of a sudden, all the domestics they went the other way.
Yep, and the Ford still stuck there, because last week I drove an F-150. I drove, a 2013 or 14, a limited. I mean, holy crap, this thing had to be $53,000, and it felt so old. I mean, agility is relative among pickup trucks, but this thing was just ponderous, and all the interior plastics, they look like they were grained from a rhinoceros. And the ride is stiff, and they kind of worked my Ford Touch in it, but it's not that good. I mean, it's just, and that EcoBoost engine. They have such a ad campaign going of, we've talked about that. It doesn't save you fuel economy. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
EcoBust.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, they sell a lot of them, but it's an old feeling truck.
Yeah, I mean, the real, talking about the EcoBoost, I mean, the thing that really comes down to, it's always the same thing about it, is how does the thing perform? I don't care if it's got push rods, I don't care if it's got a turbocharger on it, but what's the acceleration, what's the fuel economy? And however the manufacturers want to do that, that's fine. If you want to have 8 speeds, you want to have 12 speeds, I don't care.
And going back to it, GM best-in-class fuel economy with push rods, they did go direct injection and a 6-speed automatic.
Push rods.
Push rods.
There's no turbo there, but it works. That's all that matters.
Exactly. Another reader question. When are you guys testing the new Odyssey? Hey, it's done. It's
right
parked
here.
behind us. One of Honda's best products.
It is. I mean, it's really nice to drive, and it's kind of nice to look at too. I mean, that styling is growing on me.
Really? Oh,
that's why a lot of people
go to the optometrist. Here,
That's why a lot of people buy
thank you.
minivans, because they look
no,
good, right?
That's right.
That's the.
I'm styling in the Odyssey.
No, it kind of in the minivan kind of world.
It's
It's much more palatable.
As minivans
well, compared to
go,
the Godzilla Quest, I mean, yeah. You're right. And Honda did not screw up this update. This is a well-done update. They went to 6 speeds in all of them.
There is no better vehicle in terms of functionality and interior versatility.
Yep, that's right.
I mean,
This is the
Odyssey
best family
is-
vehicle you can buy.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Point blank, it is better than any, unless you need all-wheel drive, which
Right.
is debatable. This is by far the best. I've owned 2 Honda Odysseys, before I moved on to the Durango, the infamous Durango. And I took this car on a long road trip, and I owned these because I could slide kayaks into the back, and it's just such a nice road trip car.
I thought it was illegal to own a minivan without having kids.
Well, it might be, but here's the problem. Here's the thing. I miss owning a minivan, but the Durango's important, and I'll tell you why. Here's what someone writes. Surprised Muchler drives a Dodge with all their reliability issues. I pictured him in a Camry or some other very reliable vehicle. Maybe he's not as straight-laced as I thought. If I get rid of the Durango, my cred's gone. My cred's, I'm just back to straight-laced Tom.
Well, then we have the Odyssey for you, waiting.
Well, here's the thing. I'm an engineer. I'm an Eagle Scout. I work at Consumer Reports. How the hell, straight-laced, that's me. But kids, remember, if you buy a Durango, not straight-laced. Go Durango. The next question, before I embarrass myself more. I like Japanese sports luxury cars and have an older Infiniti G35. I hope you'll be reviewing, comparing the new Infiniti Q50, I'll never get that damn name right, and Lexus IS350 all-wheel drive sports models very soon. The warranties are better than the Germans, and I believe their dependability. I'm ready to buy and really need your test scores and feedback ASAP.
Well, it's coming ASAP.
It is coming.
Yeah.
We'll have that information out in the next few weeks. One thing I want to leave you with, though, dealers have an awful lot of leftover G37s, and that's a very enjoyable car.
Yep.
Yep.
And yeah,
And less expensive than the Q50.
yeah, and you should be able to get a great deal on them because they lowered the price for
Right.
14 to make it basically a fleet car.
Because now they're coming out with the Q and the Q and the other Q and the smaller Q and the bigger Q and the
Yeah.
Minding the P's and Q's.
right. I have no
Actually, I
idea.
just came out with a video explaining the Q.
What's in a name? Some may say a lot.
I mean, if you have to have a video to explain,
They have a video to explain the name of the car.
explaining the name of the car
That's
and the
nuts.
logic of the, I didn't bother watching it, but
Well,
It might have helped us.
we can't figure out the Infiniti Q and we can't figure out the
it speaks for itself.
Cadillac Q too. So I mean, I think we've.
And that has a video with it too.
That has a video too.
You don't get an
Common
iPad.
trend.
You don't get an iPad anymore if you buy a Cadillac with Q.
No. So get the G because
Yeah,
you
I
don't
would-
need a video.
You know, yeah, get a G. It's a fun driving car. It's they've obviously worked out the problems. It's going to be cheap.
Yeah.
But we'll have those test results by the end of the month. Someone else buying a car. I was hoping you'd talk about the new Dart. We have one of our Darts still here because we can't sell the damn things. I've been considering this car as it's priced very well. I've been back and forth on if the turbo's worth the extra money, and I've been worried about the Dart's reliability. Should I be? We'll talk about reliability. We'll have that out again in a couple of weeks. But what about the Dart?
What about the Dart? The Dart again is one of these ones with, we've got the turbo engine. They made it with this transmission that is
The
Dual clutch,
less than
automated
refined.
manual.
Less
is that
than
the Euro twin clutch? Do they call it?
Euro twin clutch. Yeah.
I think for the Fiat 500 they call it that way. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean,
This is the
if
Detroit
you really,
twin clutch.
if you're locked into a Dart, you should buy the turbo with a manual transmission.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Well, to be fair, if you're
Otherwise, don't buy a Dart.
well,
I actually agree with that. I mean, if you want to be
What do you mean
Euro,
by actually.
drive the. I know.
no, I
I'm so
mean,
surprised
no.
myself.
If you're buying the turbo, yes, by God, get the stick because otherwise, power delivery is like a light switch. I think the better Dart is the 2.4 liter, the biggest gas engine, and that's what they're going to go to for 14. That will be the volume engine, and it's a much more palatable engine. The 2-liter gas doesn't get out of its own way. No. Again, here's a car to contrast with GM. GM is delivering these cars that deliver on every count. That car, not quite done. The platform, great.
Yeah,
It's a
I
nice
mean,
driving
on
car, nice
paper,
riding
this car looks amazing. I mean, it's got potential, but the way it performs, the way it delivers or under-delivers leaves a lot to be desired. And the thing is, in this compact sedan class, you have so many nice cars.
Yeah, you can't phone it in.
I can't
You
see
have to get it right.
why you're locked into a Dart.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's lots of other things.
I mean, if
to
you want
choose.
handling, Focus. If you want room, Elantra, Corolla. If you want fuel
want fun and
economy,
fuel economy, you get a Mazda 3.
yeah.
And the Forte, surprisingly, is a very nice car.
Right.
And the new Corolla, which we'll talk about in the next show. The new Corolla is
very promising.
pretty
And just to
promising car.
define what Gabe's talking about, it's talking about the new Corolla, not the old
Oh,
one, which was really old.
Yeah,
Yes.
the really old Corolla. If for some reason you're stuck on a Dart, they're going to update it a lot for 14, and we'll revisit it. But yeah, you should really shop around. One more question for someone looking for a car. Thanks for this talk. I'm still torn between a Prius and a Prius V. I'm coming from a minivan and need cargo space. Are they that different? Does one drive better than the other? Please advise.
Is he ever in a hurry?
Obviously not. He's looking for either one.
Prius and being in a hurry don't go together. I mean,
But with the V especially, I mean, if you're in a hurry, that's not the car for you.
I do prefer driving a V.
Neither one is a hurry car. I mean, basically,
But I don't think he's
one's a
not
station wagon.
asking for that.
Yeah.
One's a station wagon version of it.
I mean, it
A
all
little bit more
depends
weight.
how much room you need, how much stuff you're hauling
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually prefer driving the V to the normal Prius.
Well, it's a little bit firmer, but I mean, it's pretty much very similar cars. One's a station wagon version. Do you need the extra room, and you are willing to give up a few miles per gallon? That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the regular Prius, I mean, the hatchback, I mean, affords you a lot of flexibility, a lot of practicality there.
Yeah.
And we've talked a lot in previous shows about the Ford C-Max. That is it's not as efficient as either one of these. It is a better driving car.
Yeah, it's quieter, handles better.
It doesn't have the room of a Prius V.
Right.
So that's going to wrap things up. We want to thank everybody, all the kind comments we get on YouTube, all the people who watch us through iTunes, however you watch us, however you listen to us. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.